Thank you for listening to Testimonial Tuesday with Dr. Drew Hall. I'm Dr. Paul Hambrick, and this is the show where we hear stories about people who've been helped through the power of an upper cervical correction and helped with many, many conditions, including reflex sympathetic dystrophy, which is a case that we heard about a few weeks ago. And this week's Testimonial Tuesday is a update on that young lady. And Dr. Hall has some exciting news about her. Hello, Dr. Hall.
Hello, Dr. Hambrick. Guess I'll shoot right into this RSD case. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. For those of you who don't know what RSD is, it's a pretty bizarre syndrome, pain syndrome, and there can be all sorts of additional symptomatic features to it. But this particular case, and I hope I, going forward, can top this testimony because this is a tough one to top. But as I said a couple of weeks earlier, this particular case, she had such severe pain that she was on all sorts of narcotic medication. At one time, she's on a morphine drip. And in fact, when it was at its worst, if someone drove by with the bass on and the radio, you know how it reverberates through your body, that would send her whole body into clonic contracture, kind of like a stroke patient. So this wasn't any condition to sneeze at. And the way that it started, she woke up one morning, she had a complete whiteout. And basically that's where what you see is a white screen, and that's it. And that went on for quite some time, as I talked about before. One of the things they tried was a superior cervical ganglion injection, and for whatever reason, when they did that injection, she went from a complete whiteout to, the way she put it was as if someone had thrown colored paint on a whiteboard. So she saw a potpourri of colors, but there was no movement or shape or contour of anything she was looking at. And she had a headache for about 2.5 years, very, very intensely. And as I told in the episode many weeks ago, she, prior to getting to me, got to a hyperbaric chamber. I think it was an alternative doctor, but basically they put you in high pressure, pure oxygen. And that's what got her pain level down from like an 11 or 12 down to a 5, so she was livable. Vision still was unchanged and still had pain through the body, especially in the hip area and so forth. So as she's progressed through care, she's gone from that potpourri of color, and I think I said last time where she was at, where she was able to, on the car ride home, see a differentiation between, say, the mountains and the horizon. So very modeled outlines of, say, the TV and so forth. Other than that, she was still, for all intents and purposes, blind. Well, she came into my office on Saturday morning, and I had, I don't know, 8 people in the waiting room. I was coming back out to I think I was walking someone to the rest area, and I saw her there, and she says, "Hi, Dr. Hall." And she sticks her hand out, and she says, "Hi, Dr. Hall." And I'm in the back of my head saying, why in the heck is she shaking my hand and saying, "Hi, Dr. Hall"? And she did this like 3 times, and I finally said, "Oh, my God, you have glasses on." And then I said, "Oh, my God, you can see." And she just nodded with this smile from ear to ear.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, she's not 20/20, but she doesn't have her blind walking stick anymore,
Oh, man.
and obviously she's about as happy as you could be. The only
Yeah.
thing that I could see topping this one is to have someone that's completely blind, adjust them, and on the table, boom, it just come right back. But the interesting thing with this case, as I said, she had a headache for 2.5 years, blinding headache, and she was under care for, I think this is about 4 months. I've only adjusted her 2 times. When she came in, her heat reading, Titron reading on the right upper side of the neck, I don't remember the exact reading, but I think she was around 2 degrees hot. So the right superior side of her neck was 2 degrees Celsius hotter on the right compared to the left. And she was about right 5/8 on the leg check, and she's, I mean, checked out beautifully in all those tests. And a lot of times with those chronic cases like that, they're checking out really well, but symptomatically they're not making massive changes. I guess slowly regaining your eyesight back is massive. But
Mm.
us upper cervical doctors like to see immediate changes, even though that's not usually the way it happened. But obviously that got her to hang in there with it. But I've had cases before that checked out just as well, and because their whole world hasn't changed, they decide to drop out of care. And I'm happy she didn't, because she might not have gotten the result that she did. But
Right.
when she woke up, interesting thing is this had been going on 2.5 weeks. They never called her anything
Mm.
again because they didn't want to jinx it. But she woke up one morning and her headache completely cleared, and she hasn't had a headache for the last 3 weeks, and that's when her eyesight made a massive change. And she
Wow.
says each couple days that's going by, it's improving more and more and more. But she had that big jump when she woke up in the morning. The headache was gone.
Wow.
So, as we always say, you have no idea what may happen when you correct that upper cervical subluxation and allow that body to function the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
One more side note to this story. The gal that referred her in, her coworker is the gal's dad. And she called me one day, and she told me about this gal for about 6 months, but was never able to actually get her in the office, probably because of skepticism, like most people.
Mm.
And as she was telling me the whole story about the blindness and so forth, I said, Amy, you get that girl in my office. We're going to get her to see again. And when they came in the office Saturday morning, I got him in the room and I said, did Amy ever tell you what I said about you before you even stepped foot in the office? And her dad shook her head and had this big smile on his face. Providence, I tell you.
That's awesome. Drew, I got to say, you're like the Babe Ruth of upper cervical. You know,
I'm a
you
baseball follower, but I'm not quite sure what that means.
you know, rough around the edges, calling your home runs in impossible situations, and actually carrying through.
Yeah, I've sometimes called home runs and haven't hit them, though.
Well, excellent story. Very inspiring. Very good story. Thank you very much, Dr. Hall.
All right, take it easy. We'll see
All
you
right.
next
See you
week.
next time.